So, mothers and others, we're down to our next candidate. Venton Jones represents Texas District 100, and he also got an A on our mom's report card. And we're so excited to introduce you to him. Welcome, Venton. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're running for office?
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Nancy, and good evening to mothers and others. My name is State Representative Venton Jones, and I have the honor and privilege of representing Texas House District 100, which is solely in the city of Dallas, but kind of encompasses the downtown Dallas area. So we have parts of West Dallas, parts of Oak Cliff, all of South Dallas, and we actually go up to the eastern corridor and covering parts of Buckner Terrace and some of the East Dallas neighborhoods. So a very diverse district, representing 86% people of color around the downtown Dallas area, and just very excited to be here with you all this evening.
Wonderful. So, Venton, what are the top three most important issues for your district during this election cycle?
Absolutely. And so they represent some issues that I've been pushing on during the 88th legislative session, which is is a term I've had called community stability. But that's one of the biggest things is preventing displacement. Anyone that's around urban metropolitan area around the downtown area around the downtown Dallas, a downtown area is feeling the impacts of displacement. And so preventing displacement is huge on the list. Another is public health. I serve on the public health committee, but places like House District 100 faces enormous health disparities, while also experiencing a number of healthcare deserts that exist within places like House District 100. So fighting for public education. Public health right now. Public education is next. Making sure that we're fighting, for our schools right now in our public schools. House District 100 has plenty of schools in our district right now. We have to make sure that they're fully funded. We have to make sure that they're recruiting the best teachers. And we have to also make sure that we're supporting state funding that's going to those schools, because that's so important to make sure that our children are receiving, top tier education. And then just, this fight, against these, horrible bills that are impacting so many communities within House District 100, people of color, people who are LGBTQ, women. All of these fights, are so important right now to our communities. And so that's really wrapped up in just fighting against discrimination that we clearly see that's happening, to our communities right now.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you a couple extra questions.
Go for it.
So the first one is, how are you feeling about, Greg Abbott getting that $6 million check from that billionaire in Pennsylvania? How do you feel it's going to
Absolutely.
impact North Texas?
I'm going to start with your first question, then I'll go to the second question. How do I feel? One, I'm not surprised. Since the very beginning of this conversation about Republicans, particularly the governor, we know that this fight has been fueled by billionaires from out of this state. We know that there's a larger agenda that is being moved by Republicans that are from people outside of this state. We saw this in vouchers. We saw this in public education. We saw this in public health when we had these horrible bills that were impacting the lives of transgender children and their families. These were bills that were being poured into our state. So this is just, again, another example of outside influences coming into our states. When we see time after time after time again, Texans coming in to say no. And not only did we have an opportunity to make that clear during the regular session, we said that 4 times. Not only not only rural Republicans, but also urban Democrats and just Texans, period, not wanting this. So this again shows the influence that outside billionaires are having in our state's dialogue, especially when the governor and Republicans continue to have a message that this is for our children. We need school choice, and that's not it. This is billionaires putting money into this race, and what we see this clearly very public fight that's happening between Republicans, because that money is going to be used for Republicans to fight against each other. So what I am doing is staying focused on what's important, and that's mobilizing Texans, talking to Texans right now, to continue to make sure that not just with this election coming up, that we are implementing a strategy that works to finally do what needs to be done, and that is getting statewide leadership that represents the needs of Texans, not just wealthy billionaire donors from out of state.
Okay, so let's talk about that for just a minute. I mean, we absolutely need people that represent the needs of Texans. And also, we need to elect people that support the Democratic platform.
That's
You
right.
know, absolutely. And you were one of these people that when you voted, I could always count on your vote. I mean, I could. I knew it. I knew you were always going to do the right thing. I was always looking at the board and all the votes going up, and I was like, okay, he's pulling in, he's doing the right thing. And that's really great, especially during a really rough time during the legislative session. So I'm going to ask you about that little really rough time and
Okay.
how we can look forward. So this will be my last big question for you. But um,
Okay.
Benton, you're a member of the LGBTQ community. They
Mhm.
have really been hit hard during this last legislative session. And sometimes, at the previous sessions, you think, oh, it can't be worse than this. Oh, it can't be worse than this. But now I no longer say that. I now think, okay, how much worse is it going to get? Like this next session, I kind of feel like our LGBTQ community just they were hit so hard. So what can we do, or how do you plan on further supporting the LGBTQ community during the next legislative session after they've already basically been hit incredibly hard, time and time again over a period of months, and it was just heartbreaking.
Absolutely. Well, first, it sucks. I don't really have a more comforting answer for that. And the thing is, as a person who is not only LGBTQ but a person of color, a Black man, there were so many different directions that this was coming during the session that self-care was just so important. Also being a part of this. I think that what we have to do is to really get ready. To get our communities ready, to get LGBTQ people ready, to make sure that we show up and we show out this next legislative session, because these things are going to continue. And I just tell people now, do not ever say around me that things can't get worse, because it seems like it is always gotten worse, especially in a state like, Texas. We always used to joke and laugh and said, it can't be worse than George Bush, and boom, look what happened. So I think it's very important that we never use that language that it can't get worse, because unfortunately, when we look at the LGBTQ community, it is when it comes to the Texas legislative body. And what we have to do is to continue again, just getting people to understand how important that their votes are, and how important it is that we work to, replace, this governor, to find statewide leadership to move these agendas forward. Because if not, we continue to embolden Republicans in a way that allows them to continue to put more and more heinous negative legislation forward. And there was just so many fights on the floor that we were a part of. And I'm so thankful to my colleagues, both in the House and in the Senate, for fighting back against those bad bills, because out of, those 150 plus, filed, anti-LGBTQ bills, only about 7 to 9 of them actually got through. And they were some of the worst bills, but it could have been so much worse, because coming down on that floor day after day after day, there was another bill that we had to fight through, that was attacking LGBTQ people, that was attacking Texan children, that was attacking women, that were attacking the ability for families to just be able to navigate, difficult care, for their families. And I think that we have to be ready for that, and we have to be ready for possibly back to this $6 million, the impact of this $6 million could have in replacing, more moderate Republicans with even further Republicans to the right. And that is a strategy that is happening right here and right now. And now is the time that we have to educate our people on what needs to happen to, one, get ready for this general election, but two, to engage in a more midterm strategy of changing the dynamics in the House, in the Senate, statewide, if we're really going to get the legislation that we need, the funding that we need to be able to help and support as many Texans as possible.
Absolutely, 100%. So tell us, Venton, where can we find you and how best can we support you right now while you're running for office?
Absolutely. So my website is www.venton4texas. I'm sorry, Venton4100 .com. And then you can also reach us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Venton Jones TX. So it's not just Venton Jones. If you go to Venton Jones, that's my private page. You may see me cooking. You may see me gardening and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. You just want all ledge all the time. Venton Jones TX.
Okay, well, maybe I might want both pages. I don't know.
Venton Jones.
I think I want to be your best friend. I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Sounds great. So one thing that was pretty clear from all of this, so mothers and others, we just, Venton, I guess I'm looking forward to seeing you on the campaign trail. Thank you for spending the evening with us.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Oh, you asked how can you all help? So sorry, let me answer that.
Where are you
We're still on the campaign trail, and we have weekly block walks that are going on. We're posting our neighborhood block walks. So if people want to be a part of it, there are links on each of our social media pages that people can sign up to join. We would love to have you out. If you want to, help us with phone banking, just please reach out to us, and we'd love to get you involved. And we're definitely hitting it hard these next couple of weeks. So we'd love to help it to anybody who's in the area and want to come out.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, mothers and others, I look forward to seeing Venton on the campaign trail. I know I'm going to run into him again soon, and I'm determined to make him my best friend. So anyway, moving on from that. I want to say something else that both Venton and Nathan said, and I cannot emphasize this enough. We are fighting fascism. That basically we are pushing back against fascist acts, authoritarianism. Both, Nathan and Venton mentioned it in a way, and it's very serious. And so that is why we need all of you involved, all of you participating in everything that you possibly can during this year, during the election cycle, because if we don't fight now, who knows, we might lose our rights to vote in general. You never know when your last time to vote is going to be. And we want to make sure that we continue democracy and continue with our rights to vote. So it is up to us to show up.